Welcome back to the Precious Metal Summit here in Zurich. Here with the President and CEO of Thesis Gold. Ewan, it's a pleasure to meet with you here in person.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You recently had some really big news, a merger between Benchmark and Thesis. Let's talk about that first. What is the interest and what is the synergy between these two companies?
Yeah, I mean, that transaction closed middle of August, and I think it's going to be completely transformational for the company. Really the rationale behind that was take two very good projects and make one kind of world-class asset in a top-tier jurisdiction with a very strategic land position. With, a lot of it comes down to scale as well. Just having two projects adjacent to one another, we have the ability now to have a much bigger resource than we ever would with two kind of independent projects with improved economics as well, and a lot of cost savings associated with them.
Cost savings. Well, the economics of your project, the lawyer's project from Thesis Gold side, was extremely attractive. You have, was it a PEA produced on it with very low all sustaining costs, good IRR. So how does the Benchmark side look compared to the new project from what you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, so Benchmark did a really good job. I mean, we started working on that project in 2018, and from a very small resource took it through to 3.5 million ounces last year as a resource, and the PEA, very solid foundation, and a great starting point from us to build from. And I think really where Thesis adds value to this is high-grade ounces near surface that will materially improve the economics of the PEA, and then in addition to that, it brings really the blue sky potential. The zones that we have on the ranch project they're all open. There's great potential for them to continue expanding. But more so, I mean, we probably have about 20 targets that share all of the same characteristics as the known zones of mineralization, yet they haven't been drill tested. And, they're situated within probably about a 40 square kilometer alteration footprint. And there is so much potential to continue building out what we have at the ranch project. And ultimately, I truly believe that we will probably eclipse the lawyer's project in terms of ounces on the ranch project, but it's just going to take a bit of time. Yeah.
So what is the next steps? That you mentioned drilling. Is that the next season? Are you preparing a drill program now for the coming year for that?
So we've just wrapped up a pretty substantial drill program. Yeah, we completed just under 45,000 meters across both projects, and it was kind of a two-pronged approach. One, on the lawyer's project, we did about 24,000 meters, and that was targeting deep mineralization below the open pit. So the PEA was purely just looking at the open pit potential. It didn't incorporate deep high-grade ounces below the pit. So that program this year was designed around delineating and expanding the mineralization at depth to bring in what could be a significant underground resource. And then on the ranch project, it was basically continuing to expand and delineate the known zones of mineralization that we have, but also testing a range of new targets as well. So extremely successful drill program.
Fantastic.
It's just wrapped up. Yeah.
So this is a very exciting area. It seems to be one of the new districts, or what would you call? Unfortunately, I can't pronounce the name of it.
Yeah, the Toodoggone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us more about this area. It's quite new and probably quite unfamiliar to many.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty new but pretty old at the same time. It was actually explored a lot in the 1960s, 70s, and on the lawyer's project, actually, it was an operational mine in the late 80s and the early 90s, and it really just closed because of depressed gold prices, and it was high-grade underground, but for the next couple of decades, really nothing happened in the Toodoggone. The perception was that it was small, high-grade deposits, and there wasn't the potential for the multi-million ounce deposits that we see in the Golden Triangle to the west of us. But I think what Benchmark's done over the last few years, and Thesis as well now, has really just demonstrated that that is not the case. There are very large deposits here, and it was more just an understanding of the geology that was lacking. So, putting all those pieces together now, it's really, we've breathed some new life into the Toodoggone district and shown that, hey, this has world-class potential.
Do you see other companies starting to sniff around with these kind of results?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of interest in the Toodoggone now. The Centerra's in the area as well in terms of like mid-tiers and majors. Freeport McMoran also has a joint venture in the Toodoggone at the moment. So I think it's really starting to get the recognition that it deserves.
Okay. Let's go back to the PA, because when I looked at the numbers, it's in a different tier than other projects, because the costs are well below, all sustaining costs in the PA were well below $1,000 now. So can you tell us more about what was produced in this PA and what you have now? I know that it's going to change now with the benchmark edition and so on, but how does it look right now?
Yeah, the highlights from the PEA were 12-year life of mine, sort of purely open pit again, 12-year life of mine, about 1.5 grams head grade, gold equivalent that is. After-tax NPV about 589 million Canadian, and the IRR was about 24% with a 2.8-year payback, and the capex was just under 500 million. Now, as you said, very solid project, but we've identified two kind of key areas where we can take that and make it substantially better, and really that comes from really what our drill program was focused on this year, bringing in what will be a high-grade underground resource on the Lawyers project, and bringing in, so we reckon we've probably got about 500,000 ounces at 4 to 5 grams in just underground. And the idea is to bring those ounces earlier into the mine life, so kind of year 1, 2, and that will be transformational for the for an updated PEA. And then the second part really is looking at high-grade ounces coming from the Ranch deposit. It's 24 kilometers, deposit to deposit, so we can truck downhill basically all the way to the Lawyers project, where we have a centralized milling facility, and bringing high-grade ounces from Ranch plus the underground will take this from being a very good project to an exceptional project.
Excellent. What sort of timeline are you looking at to put this together, this kind of these details?
Yeah, so Big's next 6 to 10 months ahead for Thesis. Drill program's just wrapped up, but we still have a lot of drill results to put out over the coming months. That will all feed into what will be a global resource across both projects for the first time. Okay. And then simultaneously we'll also be working on an updated PEA the resource will be out early Q2 next year, and then an updated PEA will be early Q3 next year. So huge milestones ahead for us.
Big milestones. So a very exciting year ahead. Yeah. Not less than a year for all these updates. So we look forward to following these results and how this resource update and the updated PEA come together and see how this comes together. But very exciting project and a very exciting time to see this company grow with this merger with Benchmark. It's very, very nice to see that. So thank you for your time and looking forward to catching up with you soon.
Yeah, my pleasure.